Are we filming? Is it going? Oh, it's rolling. Oh my God. Make sure to talk into the microphone too.
This one right here.
Yes, baby. This one right here. All right. Well, welcome to the Astro Daddy podcast.
Woo!
Episode 1. My name is Danny Santos, and I'm here with the illustrious Dr. Stephanie Hunter-Jones. Hello.
Hi. AKA the erotic doctor.
The erotic doctor, and that's erotic with a K. on
Erotic
TikTok.
with a K on TikTok.
And I just wanted to introduce myself really quickly. I'm sure the people who are seeing this or listening already know who I am. A lot of my followers know who you are. But my name is Danny Santos. I am a professional astrologer, spiritual life coach. I'm studying to be an ayahuasca shaman through the Shipibo lineage. And I also do sound healing, tarot readings, Reiki healings, spiritual life trauma healing, all of the good stuff. And I'm starting the Astro Daddy podcast because I wanted to invite fabulous guests such as you.
Oh, wow.
We've got your sister directly on after you,
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Tammy. And the point of this podcast is to really give a platform for the people in my life that I know and help people tell their story.
Okay.
And when I have people on once, I want to have them on again.
Okay.
I want to have conversations. I want
Sure.
to learn about your life story through astrology, but that's just the springboard.
Okay.
Really what we're doing here today is learning about you.
Oh, okay.
And we're just going to use the birth chart as a metaphor for your life. And anybody who's listening, maybe this will make you want to try astrology.
Yeah,
but-
absolutely.
I just want to say, Dr. Stephanie, I love you. I met you because I reached out to you from Anthony Padilla's YouTube channel. So I saw you on your video about I spent a day with sex therapists.
With a sex therapist.
Yes, with a sex therapist. So why don't you introduce yourself and just tell my audience who you are, how you came to do what you're doing, and let's just start there.
Okay, well, first let me start by saying I am so proud of you for your show.
Thank you.
I so believe in you, as you know. I think you're probably the most talented astrologer on the planet.
Oh my God, thank
So
you.
if anybody deserves this and more success, it's you.
Thank you.
So, and I love you very, very much. And I am very honored that you even asked me to be on your show, but to ask me to be your first guest. I'm
Of
very honored.
course. Well, and also I just want to say, when we initially were working together, you were helping me with some personal things in my life. You,
I won't tell.
but I came to you as a client, and we just developed a really intense bond.
Yes.
And I eventually asked you to be my mentor.
That's right.
So I also want anybody listening to this to know that a major part of my success in my business has been working closely with you, and you are a licensed therapist.
Thank you.
And while I'm not a therapist, I'm a healer. You've given me business infrastructure, tips, tricks. You're the one who taught me anytime you're going somewhere, dress up and give the razzle dazzle.
That's right.
So, but I just wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for me. So, and I love you.
Well, I love you. So I'm in private practice here in Los Angeles. I am a clinical sexologist. I have a PhD in human sexuality. My master's is in clinical psychology with a specialization in postmodern therapies. I am a certified sex coach. I also am a TikTok creator. I have like a little variety show, TikTok, that I dress up in different characters because my belief about our sexuality, it's an essence within us. And sex is only one way of expressing that essence.
Yeah.
Some people can express it through sports, through cooking, through gardening. I express my essence through all my characters that I come up with.
Yes.
So anytime, even your listeners, anytime they do something that brings them passion and makes them feel alive and brings them joy, they're using their sexual energy, and they will always be good at it.
Yes. So what you're describing perfectly mirrors the sacral chakra in spirituality. So the sacral chakra is ruled by the color orange. Note the orange hair.
No wonder.
I know. And it's that orange energy represents our water element. So it's our creative life force. It's the womb. It's our sexuality. It's our that ability to create something. So what you're talking about is really us capturing like that sexual energy and not just using it for the act of physical creation to make a child or even just to have sex, but to create a life.
Right. Right.
So can you say a little bit more about that?
Well, again, it's that one of the things when I work with people that feel disconnected from their sexuality,
Yeah.
the first thing I do is I try to find out what they're truly passionate about. What they're truly passionate about is usually lacking, you see, and that's why they've disconnected from their sexuality.
Yeah.
So they have to get back to exploring what brings that juice to them. Is it the
Mm.
way they dress? Is it the way they talk? What is it that gives them that juice? Because without that juice, our sexuality kind of wanes down.
Yeah.
So
That life force, that
mhm,
energy.
mhm.
So what you're saying is we can use our sexuality to revitalize ourselves as whole individuals.
Oh, without a doubt. That's why my motto is heal your sexuality, heal your life.
Aha. Okay.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect
And when I
sense.
say sexuality, I don't just mean the act of sex, you see.
Yeah.
Someone can be extremely sexual without sex through their essence, their energy. And I'll tell you something else. Somebody who has like a strong, powerful sexual energy, people will always want to be around.
Aha. The people gravitate towards them.
That's right.
That's why we see artists, musicians,
Mm-hmm.
actors, some of the most creative people in the world are magnetic.
Right.
And people want to be around them.
That's right.
So if your favorite color is orange, it's likely that you've got a poppin' sacral chakra.
Okay. Woo!
Woo! So let's talk a little bit about how this actually is reflected quite powerfully in your birth chart.
Okay.
So
And by the way, you know that I'm 21, right?
yes,
That's
honey,
okay.
yes, baby.
I don't care what that thing says.
So when we look in your birth chart, you are an Aries and an Aries rising.
Okay.
So that puts the sun in your first house. So that means your personality is at the forefront, baby.
Ooh.
And Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. So we know Mars is the planet of sex.
Oh, well, then there you go.
So I find a lot of people who are involved with sexology, sex therapy, sexual healing in any kind of way, people who are advocates for sexual liberation fall under this sign. So it's very common. But we also see people who are athletes and people who are just constantly in motion. That energy of Aries doesn't want to stop. So can you just tell us a little bit in your life as being a go-getter, having that Mars energy, going after what you want?
Well, I mean, I have spent my life going after what I want, but I haven't always gotten it.
Well, that's Aries' downfall is they jump first and look later.
Yeah.
So to fail forward.
So yeah, I have. I'm never ever have I ever been afraid to try something and go after something, and I have failed so many times. I mean, even way back, I tried stand-up comedy.
No way.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I was so sucky. But I still kept doing it. And you know what was so interesting about it? It was in my, let's see, what is that, like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I would dress up like characters and go on stage. And at that time, that was not what was popular or funny. And people didn't understand me. They didn't get me.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I would have a few people after the show would say, "Oh my God, you're so funny. I love you." It just wasn't my time. And that's why my TikTok, I feel like, allows me, it almost takes me back to then when
The
I was
stand-up
rejected.
days. Whoa.
Yeah, when I was rejected. It allows that young girl to come out.
Yeah. Did you know that right now you're actually in your Saturn return in your birth chart?
I didn't. And what does that mean?
So Saturn returns twice, maybe 3 times in our lifetimes.
Oh.
So it happens between a specific number of dates in our lives. So
Okay.
between the ages of 27 and 30, and between, I think it's 57 and 60.
Okay.
So,
wow.
you know, so you're at your second Saturn return.
Okay. And what does that mean exactly?
So Saturn is the planet of discipline. It's the planet of, it wants us to grow up. It's trying to teach us a lesson on
Okay.
some reason. And you and I were born with Saturn 1 degree apart from each other.
Oh,
So we have
okay.
the same Saturn karma in this lifetime.
Oh, wow.
So that karma looks like this energy of Saturn in Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of the collective, and Saturn is the disciplinarian planet.
Okay.
So this is the feeling of being left out throughout your life, feeling like an outsider, feeling
Oh,
very
yes.
isolated.
I have been.
Can you talk to me a little bit about
Yeah.
this?
Well, I mean, even around that time too, I was going to acting school. I was working as a makeup artist, and I would always dress up in like vintage clothing, wear vintage hats, and I would get quite a few insults. But I felt I was at my true self. See, that was a time I was using my sexual energy. I didn't know it at that time. I didn't know what it was. To do that, that was feeding that for me. It was healing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, given that Saturn is returning for the second time in your birth chart, that those phases in your life where you were doing the comedy and dress up and all of that, where it didn't land, it's returned.
That is
At
making
this,
sense then.
you know?
Because I just put this together recently.
Uh-huh.
Well, when I really realized how much pleasure it was bringing me.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is reminding me of those days when
Well, and you're
couldn't
popping on TikTok.
Well, I'm trying.
You just passed 32,000 followers, I
Well,
believe.
I'm like 20 away from 35,000.
Oh my God, congrats.
Thank you.
But it's interesting because the Saturn lesson in your birth chart is to feel completely separate from the collective and develop yourself as an individual.
Oh,
and
I'm completely separate.
Well, and now you're returning to where the
Yeah.
collective is seeing you.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the karmic lesson is that you've been forced to develop self-esteem, self-worth, like doing things on your own so that you can later return to the collective.
Right. And growing up in Dallas and in that area, I don't know that they knew what to do with me.
Yeah.
So
Well, and you have a very religious background.
Oh, very. But now being on TikTok, see, I have the whole planet is my platform.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot that don't get me, but then there are some that do,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, very, very religious.
So would you feel comfortable talking about your religious background at all?
Me and my sister, actually, she'll talk about hers as well. We were actually abused in the Pentecostal faith.
Oh, my ex was in the Pentecostal faith as well.
Wow, really?
Yeah, Brad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, his parents are Pentecostal ministers, honey, both of them.
Oh my goodness.
Explains the trauma.
Okay. Yeah. So, yes. So from the age of 8, 9, and 10, I can remember my aunts having me in a dark room and praying sex demons out of me.
Oh my God.
When I didn't even know what sex was. I knew what a demon was, so I was scared to death.
How old were
dying,
you?
going to hell. Like 8, 9, 10 years
And
old.
you had sex demons. That must have been generational, honey, because what is an 8-year-old doing to get that?
They just, it was a form. Unfortunately, mental illness runs in my family.
Okay.
So oftentimes the mentally ill will turn to that hardcore religion. And unfortunately, children tend to be the victims of that.
There's a movie that's a documentary about it.
I've seen it.
I can't remember the name
of it either.
I'll put it in the show notes or something.
yeah.
So people, Jesus Camp?
That's it.
Is that
Jesus
it? Yeah, Jesus Camp. So I've seen firsthand from that movie. And
They're
from dating
real
my
good
ex.
at brainwashing children.
But what they're doing is kind of equivalent to other cultures with the extremism and talking about like in that movie Jesus Camp, they talk about war and how we need to be warriors and like there's going to be an uprising. And so the extremism is real.
Right. And for me, I was so scared of sex and yet so naturally fascinated by it that even when I was married briefly for 10 years in my 20s. In the earlier years, I remember after having sex with my husband, I would go in the bathroom and ask God to forgive me.
Oh my God.
That's one of the reasons that led me to the work that I do as far as being a sex therapist.
Yeah.
Because I know what sexual shame is.
Yeah. And it was sexual shame, religious shame.
Yes.
Oh my God. So
Just tied usually together.
how did you begin healing that wound?
Well, it took a long time.
And did you have a mentor to help you?
I've had small little mentors along the way, but I basically had to do it alone.
Oh, there's that Saturn in Aquarius, being forced to be separate from the collective in order to find the way on your own.
Right.
To then re-enter it. To then re-enter it later in life.
Yeah.
So
And it happened for me after my divorce, which is around like 32 or 33. And I actually began to question my sexuality at that point.
what does that look like for you? Or what did it look like?
I tried dating women for a while.
Okay.
And I couldn't find the one or whatever. And then through that process, I just realized that I lean more bisexual.
Okay, I didn't know that about you either.
Well, my
I'm learning so
goodness.
much about you.
You didn't know that?
No, but I
Oh,
think it's because when we're working together, we're talking mostly about like what's topical and what's going on in my
right,
life and your
right,
life. So
right,
it's kind
right.
of cool to be interviewing and learning more this
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
So, all right, so
hmm
we've got that Saturn energy in the birth chart that's quite strong.
Also, I needed at that time healing the feminine energy. Like a lot of my clients that will come to me and out of the blue, even in their 50s, find their same sex attractive and they
Yeah.
start questioning themselves. And some of that can be sexual, but some of it can actually be they need the healing in that particular energy. So let's
Interesting.
say a male that all of a sudden develops attraction to men, let's say in his 50s, first thing I'll do is explore the relationship with his father. And
Aha.
most of the time it was very damaged. And so he's seeking, he doesn't realize it, but he's seeking that love because the brain wants to turn pain into pleasure. So the pain that he had with his father, he wants to experience pleasure with a man. And
Interesting.
oftentimes when we work on that, then the sexual desires will wean a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so during that time, I needed a lot of uh, female, feminine healing because my mother was so vicious and
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, I know that I've kind of been on this journey to figure out, am I bisexual? Like,
hmm
there's this kind of big question mark over me. Uh, what happens when it's the other way around? When a man is maybe gay his whole life and then is starting to question, is there feelings in the other direction?
Well, first of all, I believe that we are born onto the planet sexual beings. So we are capable of having sex and emotions and feelings with both genders through our upbringing, through our experiences, through society and whatnot. We're sort of molded a certain way.
Yeah.
So, again, I would say perhaps maybe you're getting in touch with more of your natural sexuality,
Mm.
or maybe you need some healing in the
In the
feminine
feminine direction. You know, that
direction.
makes sense for me. So, got some shadow work to do.
Okay.
Um,
Uh,
well, it's interesting that you're talking about comedy as well,
hmm
because you've got the planet Jupiter right on the ascendant. It's about 3 degrees apart. That's the planet of international travel,
Oh.
expansion, comedy, good
Mm-hmm.
sense of humor, and spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, your moon sign is Sagittarius.
Mm.
So your Aries sun, Aries rising, Sagittarius moon, you're all fire.
Mm.
So there's a lot of instinct to move and to go forward,
Mm.
to plunge ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So this energy of moving with comedy and integrating yourself in that way, apart from your TikTok, how else do you find it kind of showing up in your life?
Uh, I would say just laughing at myself.
I mean, it's probably the best way to look at it, right?
Yeah,
You
that's
know.
probably it. I
And
feel
then
my work though with my clients is also I use my sexual energy because I'm always present and in the moment with my client,
yeah.
and I show up for them, and I I don't know, after they leave, I just feel this euphoric, even if it's been a difficult session. I feel I'm doing what I'm supposed to do,
Yeah.
and when we do what we feel we're supposed to do, then we will feel that.
Absolutely. So, also, we have Sagittarius being the sign of being fully integrated, whereas the opposite sign, Gemini, is extremes, black and white,
Mm.
the,
Yeah,
the twins.
right.
Sagittarius is the man and the horse
Uh-huh.
blended into one, the centaur. So, it's about being fully integrated. So,
Mm.
in your work, can you tell me a little bit about helping people maybe find the shades of gray in their relationship
Mm.
and how they might open
Yeah.
things up or how they can expand or grow themselves to realize it doesn't have to be black and white?
hmm Well, are we talking about sexuality here or in general?
Sexuality and
Uh-huh.
in general.
Well, all of that it takes a lot of time and working with them. But you're absolutely right. A lot of people are black and white in their thinking.
Yeah.
Um,
Which you're not going to be with the Sagittarius moon.
yeah. Oftentimes that comes though from a place of fear. Um, Fear of going there,
Mm.
fear of loss of the partner. Like they could be, let's say, a husband wants to open up, the woman doesn't. The woman is fearful of it because she's actually fearful, not so much fearful that she thinks she's fearful losing him, but she's more fearful of herself,
Yeah.
getting in touch with that,
Yeah.
and losing control.
Mm.
So black and white thinking is often based in control. Is what I'm trying to say.
Got it.
Through this babble.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a form of control.
So, do you ever help couples who come in thinking one way about their relationship and then they're able to maybe start seeing it from a different point of view?
Oh, all the time. That's what I do.
Well, let's talk about it because what I'm hinting at is I know you work with couples who end up opening their relationship.
Yeah.
So, can you talk about
It
that a
depends
little
on
bit more?
Okay, well,
I was trying to
couples-
bait you into it.
Sure, that's okay. Couples come to me already knowing sometimes that they want to go that route, and so I help them do it by setting up boundaries and all of that good stuff. Get them ready for it.
Yeah.
And then there are some couples that have come to me, and I have sensed that they need to go in that direction, but I don't push them in that direction. But I do drop little hints, get a little taste in there, give them little assignments and homework assignments to kind of stick their toe in it. And then I have worked with some that eventually have decided, yes, that was good for them and that was their way to go.
That makes a lot of sense.
I don't know, there's just some energy I sense in them
Yeah.
that that's what they need.
Well, and with a lot of couples, because sometimes we work with the same people, so a lot of times I'll do readings for couples and I'll actually look into their birth chart compatibility and see that maybe they're supposed to be in an open relationship.
Right.
Or maybe there's some infidelity or there's something going on behind the scenes. I've seen that more than once.
I'm sure you have.
So
Me too.
working with couples. So what's the best way to work with a couple that might be feeling resistant towards maybe one of them is hiding or harboring something? Is it possible to take the couple further if one of them is being dishonest?
Yeah, that would depend. I would probably do an individual session with each one of them and feel out what it is that one is hiding, why that one is hiding that. Is it because they don't feel like they have the space to be truthful?
Yeah.
Because it kind of goes both ways. Because when someone is hiding and not being truthful, they don't have the space to do so.
Yeah, it's almost like they're not being given permission to be honest because the other person's going to react so intensely.
That's right. And we got to remember, we cannot give permission to be honest and then punish them when they are.
Oh, if that's not a reel right there, I don't know what is.
That's right.
Because honesty is the foundation of all relationships. And I think, we're in the age of Aquarius now. So this is the age where people are meant to be non-binary, open their relationships, work from home. We're moving into the future. So I think
mystery is sexy. Secrets are disaster.
ooh, okay. Yeah. And I mean, what are the worst secrets to hold in a relationship?
Well, I think we all know that.
I think we all know infidelity. Yes, of course. Dr. Stephanie tells all.
Yeah. I think everybody knows the answer to that one.
Something else that I see in your birth chart is we've got the planet Neptune in the 8th house.
Okay.
So the 8th house is the realm of sexuality.
Oh, my.
And Neptune,
I'm just doing it.
Well, and Neptune's the planet of fantasy.
Oh,
So,
that would make a lot of sense.
Yes, because apart from being a sexologist and a therapist, tell us a little bit about your art that you do.
Oh, yeah, I'm an artist. I paint nudes, often female nudes, goddesses. Around that time period when I was questioning my sexuality, I really became fascinated with erotic photography from like the 1900s up to like the 1950s.
Yes.
And I loved the women in that era. There's something about that I just loved. So a lot of my work is based on that. Again, it makes me connect for some reason, connect to that feminine healing.
You might have a past life there.
Possibly.
You never know.
Possibly.
But that energy of really connecting with those women, I mean, it's kind of transcendent. So I know that you have a big influence in, like, you love George Méliès.
Oh, yeah.
And can you talk a little bit about some of your work, how it's connected to that, or even some of the body art that you have?
Gosh, it's hard to. It's again with George's work. All his little films were like watching little paintings come to life. He was between the year I think 1902 is when he did my favorite trip to the moon.
Yes, I love that.
So it's God, it's 100 years old or something.
Oh my God!
Oh no, it's more than that.
It is.
Right?
It's more than 100 years old.
Yeah. Now I'm acting like those people on TikTok. Who's the president? So 1902. So it was 120 years old.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Oh my God. That A Trip to the Moon came out.
Yes.
No kidding.
Yeah. And there's just something about his work that I just so connect with.
Yeah.
And that have used that inspiration into my paintings.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. So, is it okay if we talk a little bit about destiny and past lives
Yes,
in your
please.
birth chart? So, according to your birth chart, your past life sign is Capricorn.
Okay.
So, Capricorn is the sign of finding yourself.
Mm.
It's all about drying everything out and doing things on your own, being independent, similar to Aquarius, but that's more about being dried from the collective.
Mm-hmm.
This is just being really isolated.
What does that mean exactly? Does that mean that's the way it was in my past life?
And
or-
early on in this lifetime as well.
Oh, okay.
So Capricorn is lessons of the father.
Mm.
So traditionally, fathers have been encouraged to leave their families, marry a woman, have their own children, leave that family every day to go work a job.
Mm-hmm.
So you've developed being a hard worker. You've got great work ethic. You've developed finding yourself and doing things to establish yourself. Whereas your biggest karmic lesson in this lifetime is developing a personal life, becoming a mother, establishing intimacy and vulnerability and sensitivity.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure I've done that.
Well, that's the karmic lesson this time around. It's to develop sensitivity because your destiny sign is
Actually,
Cancer.
I'm very nurturing. And I'm very nurturing to my clients.
Yeah.
That I will say. And I'm very nurturing to my animals.
Yes.
And as you know, my daughter passed away last year.
Yeah.
So I lost that avenue to nurture.
Yeah.
But as far as the father, that's very interesting because, I had probably the first half of my life, I had the most pain in regards to my father
Yeah.
and my relationship with my father, which was horrible.
It's
In many
like-
ways, he was a good man, but as a father, he was a terrible daughter father.
Yeah. So it's like that past life, the relationship to the father can be one of the sources of our greatest, like being dried out energy. Because Capricorn it's dry, it's resilient. So you've developed being a resilient person. And I do remember when your daughter passed, this is when we had the moon and Pluto right on your past life placement. That was the day you found out. So it was like a past life karma, the same dryness that you experienced from your father as a child kind of returned at the
Yes.
loss of your daughter.
Yes. I
Does
believe
that make sense to
It
you?
sure does.
So,
Yeah, it's like something did die in me when she passed.
yeah.
That will never come back.
Well, and with Cancer as the destiny sign, it's like you have to continue moving forward to develop that emotionality, that sensitivity. So, what does that look like for you, or do you even know? Have you been exploring that?
I would say my greatest avenue for that are my TikTok videos.
So creating kind of like
Just creating.
a sense of intimacy. Well, the mother is about creation, and your sister Tammy is a Cancer, so she's got that Cancer energy that you're looking to develop further in this lifetime.
And also working with my clients.
Being like a mother to them.
I'm a mother to them, and I'm also, my work with them is very creative.
Yeah.
I give them very creative assignments to do. I'm often trying to think of new things to spice things up for them, that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, and then of course, mentorship.
Yes.
You've been like a mother figure to me in a lot of ways, especially as you've helped me heal my own traumas and move through my own trials and tribulations in
Yeah.
life. So,
And I get these young girls commenting on my TikTok, "Can I call you grandma?"
Oh.
And I'm saying, "Honey, you can call me grandma. I would love to be your granny."
oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, I love it.
So, but Cancer, that's the energy that you've got to move towards. It's got to be about like really being vulnerable. So, as you continue growing and learning, that's like the karmic correction in this lifetime.
Okay.
Because your soul knows how to be resilient. You've
Okay.
mastered resilience, intimacy and vulnerability, and like attachment. That's the karmic destiny.
Okay.
So just interesting to have that in the birth chart. We also have this little asteroid known as Chiron, and this is our greatest pain, which leads to our most profound healing. You have it in the sign Pisces, which is about spirituality.
Oh,
So
wow.
interesting that you come from a very wounded religious background,
Yes.
and then it has moved into the realm of healing. So can you talk to us a little bit
Well,
about that?
it's not only healing from that. used to believe so deeply in energy and which I do on some level, but that got injured greatly with my daughter's passing.
Yeah.
So I'm still myself searching for truth and answers and being, like my sister told me, I have to be okay, maybe not even knowing.
Yeah.
So okay with the idea that I hope to see her again one day, okay with the idea that I might not.
Yeah. Do you believe in an afterlife?
I want to. I believe in energy. I hope so. But again, after my daughter's passing, my spiritual beliefs took a big hit.
Well, and it makes sense because when she passed, it hit that past life placement, that drying effect.
Yeah.
Whereas this lifetime is about learning moisture. So
I'm trying to take steps to heal that. Like I'm going to be doing a reading with someone that was highly recommended for me, a medium.
Oh, wow.
It's taken me this long to get ready. Every week I look at her schedule, but I don't leap into it yet. But then I had a couple of signs. I've had a few signs recently, which is telling me to do that. So
it's coming your way.
we'll see.
This is part of the journey, though,
Yeah.
because to muster up the emotion that it's going to take to go into that session,
Right.
that's out of your soul's comfort zone. You're developing that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And I just want to say from my heart, I am so sorry about the loss of your daughter.
Well, thank
And I'm sure everyone listening, feels the
Yes.
same way.
Thank you.
And it's interesting too, because in your birth chart, that Chiron aspect, that pain, it's at 13 degrees Pisces. That's where my moon sign is. So something about my emotional life might wound you, but it also heals you,
Interesting.
So there have been times where maybe we've disagreed or where I've been like a little sassy or,
that's right.
gone back and
Yes,
forth.
you have been sassy.
Or gone back and forth in Pisces fashion.
Yes, you have done that too.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. But anybody who knows me knows I'm a back and forth kind of guy. I'm just trying to figure it out, you guys. But
We all are.
right. But at the end of the day, it's like my emotional response can be something that's actually deeply healing. And something that I've really wanted to do with you actually is now that I'm getting certified in breath work and all of these different things, I actually want to work with you.
Oh, okay.
And maybe do some of that spiritual healing session on
Yeah,
you since you've done so
certainly.
much to heal me.
Oh, certainly. I would love that.
So,
Definitely.
and we have the astrology that it goes both ways because you're bringing the wounded healer and I'm bringing my emotions. So we both get healed and we both restore emotion.
Yeah, love to do it.
So the other thing that we have in your birth chart is Venus in Pisces.
Okay.
So this is where Venus is exalted, meaning it's in its favorite place to be. And Pisces is the sign of compassion, spirituality, magic, other worlds and dimensions. And Venus is the planet of love.
Okay.
So this would probably feed into that active fantasy that you have. You've got Neptune in the 8th house, aspected to Venus in Pisces.
Yeah, I always had a relationship with fantasy almost to the point of unhealthiness
Really?
when I was younger because I would try to escape my emotional pain by fantasizing.
Got it.
So now I use that gift of fantasy to create, not to escape.
Well, as someone who has suffered as a love addict in my life, you know this. What words of wisdom do you have for our fellow fantasizers, love addicts, escape artists?
That using fantasy to escape is not healthy and dangerous. Using fantasy to create is a beautiful thing.
So to escape, it is it is not healthy and it's dangerous.
Yes.
But to create with it is the right outlet.
Absolutely.
And
you can create beautiful things from it.
Yeah, and it doesn't just have to be art.
No.
Painting,
You can
music,
create
sculpture.
a life from it.
So creating a home, creating outfits or...
Well, creating who you are as a person.
Okay. So it's about genuinely...
Pick up the paintbrush and paint who you are. Write your own story. Pick up the pen and write your own story of who you are.
Beautiful. So that makes perfect sense. I mean, the birth chart really does bring out very intense aspects of being an artist, a creative. I believe that you actually moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting.
I did.
Can you talk a little bit about your journey of leaving Texas and then coming here and how you survived?
Well, I didn't survive as an actor here. I worked more in Texas, just in little things like little commercials and little theater and stuff. So there, I was sort of I stood out in the crowd. Here, I just blended in, and I unfortunately lost when I moved here. I lost who I was then. I lost the girl dressing in the vintage stuff. I lost all of that, and I tried, and then I sort of tried to become like everyone else that was trying to
Yeah.
make it. So that aspect of it didn't work out for me, but that's okay because when one door closes, another door opens.
Yeah. So I mean, outside of that, you've also done a lot of like television appearances for some of your work.
I have.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the stuff you've done?
Oh gosh, I should have brought a list.
Or some of the publications you've been featured in?
Sure, I've been featured in Playboy, People Magazine. Yeah, I should have brought my list of everything.
I'm sorry. I'll put it in the show notes. It's on your website.
Good, because I have my mind. I can't even remember what. So, I have been blessed in that way, featured. And actually, as far as the acting goes, I also did try. I used to write murder mystery shows.
What?
And would sell them and hire the actors. And I did that for a few years, and I just found out it wasn't worth all that I was putting in for it. It wasn't not only financially, it was just too much. You had to depend on other actors. You had to, but that part was beautiful, seeing like characters that I wrote come to life. That part was
Oh
fun.
my God. Is this like the murder mystery shows where people come and they interact with like these characters?
Yeah.
Tell people, for the people who don't know, what that is.
Well, mine was back then, they would go to, I guess a company would hire a room in a restaurant, and then the actors would come and mix in with the people. And depending upon what who was the murderer or whatever, the audience would have to try to figure it out. So it was fun. It was fun.
Very
I've tried
cool.
different various things,
Yeah.
but it just never panned out for me.
Right, right. Well, what you're doing with TikTok and all of that now, I think it's kind of you're giving you that creative outlet.
I hope so. And I like TikTok because I'm able to choose the character. I'm able to write the script. I'm able to shoot it. I'm able to pick the wardrobe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, my sister gives me all kinds of advice that I could not live without, frankly.
Yes.
But I don't have to like be someone else's character.
Uh-huh.
If I see it this way, then this is how it is. You see?
Yeah. And what's the process of writing for all of these?
The process is just it coming into my head out of the blue.
Oh, okay. So you don't physically write anything?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, okay.
So I will wake up or in the night or something, and I'll see something that'll inspire me, and I'll say I should do a character. Like I have so many characters that I still haven't developed yet. I should do this and I should do that, and my sister is good about helping me with that too.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you should do this, and you should make this one this and this one. This.
So I actually want you to talk about some of your characters. I know you got Lady Piggy.
Yes. She's so naughty because she thinks she's far superior than everyone else, even though she's doing raunchy things.
And how did you pick the name? You told me this before.
The old Marilyn movie, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Yes.
The old man in there that she was getting the crown from, his name was Piggy. And his wife, Marilyn would call her Lady Piggy.
So I also see you doing a lot of duetting in your videos.
Yes, I like duets too.
The duets that I notice that always catch my attention the most are men who have a very traditional point of view on relationships and women.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the trend that you're seeing on TikTok? Because it's the collective, so we're getting all perspectives in one place, and we're hearing voices outside of our own typical echo chambers. So, can you talk about that a
certainly
little
when
bit?
I see anyone, in fact, I have a duet coming out soon, or stitch rather, coming out soon of a girl who came out against masturbation, that it was against God and this and that, and I stitched her. When I see anyone doing something that I don't agree with, I don't attack them. I go at it as a funny character to sort of make them look stupid.
Well, the liberalism versus the conservatism, it's an age-old tale. It is that very extreme kind of black and white thinking that we're talking about.
Yeah.
How do you think TikTok is either helping or aggravating kind of the extremism?
Mm, I think it's a necessary evil. I believe total freedom of speech. So I think it's good for us to see people like that, to
Yeah.
know that they exist and not live in our little liberal bubble,
Yeah.
and vice versa. I think it's good for them. On some ways, people say it disconnects us, but in many ways, it is connecting us.
Yeah. Well, my biggest mindset is I don't have to agree with somebody in order to be kind to them or
That's
to
right.
respect them. And I always keep kind of my thoughts and opinions pretty private because it's my individual belief. So I'm not into people being extreme on either side. I think if we're going to heal as a world, as a country, as a unit, we have to stop going at each other. And I just hate how the world has been divided in this massive way.
Yeah.
What do you think we can do to kind of blur the gap or merge?
Make funny characters
Have better sex?
and have better sex.
There you go. So, well, I'm looking at the last thing in your birth chart that I kind of want to jump into. Actually, there's two things that are popping out. You've got the planet Pluto, which is the planet of death and rebirth,
Okay.
on top of the asteroid of marriage. So this would lead to divorce or being a widow.
Okay.
So you did mention, or I don't know if you mentioned that you've been divorced.
Yes, I was divorced.
So can you talk a little bit
And
about?
when that gate was locked, I never went back through it.
Well, what led to the marriage? I mean, what?
We were both young. I was 21. He was 23. I mean, it just, again, we were both too young to be married. And we were married for 10 years. And so,
Really?
and of course, we met at church.
You did?
Yeah.
Were you attracted to him when you met him?
Yes. He wasn't attracted to me, but I was very attracted to him.
Interesting. What drew you to him?
He reminded me of a cousin that I really loved. That was really sweet to me.
Good personality.
Yeah, although he didn't have that personality.
Oh, no.
He looked like him, but he didn't really have that personality.
So you and him, you pursued him, I'm guessing?
Yeah, pretty much.
And he just ended up going with it?
He went with the flow.
He
I
went
would
with
like to think he fell in love with me, but
Well, when was his
knows?
birthday?
he's Sagittarius.
Oh,
December the 8th.
Your moon sign. So
Too much fire.
too much fire in one spot. Did he like
Yes.
to travel?
Well, he did so for his work.
Okay.
And we were in an open relationship, but I didn't know it.
Oh my God.
So he was a cheater.
Uh-huh. Well, it's
But,
not
that was then. We were both so young.
Yeah,
I've forgiven that.
it's not unheard of with the Sagittarius.
I'm sure.
They've got the wandering eye, the shades of gray.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily about establishing the boundaries.
Right.
So
And I made a lot of mistakes in the marriage as well.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's, marriage is not my thing.
I can understand. I mean, the world that we're moving into, I think a lot of people are having hesitations about marriage. Do you find that more couples are just looking for partnership rather than like commitment?
It just depends. I mean,
Yeah.
it just depends.
Yeah. Here in Los Angeles, do you notice any kind of trend?
Not really.
Okay.
There's always going to be a certain percentage that don't want the commitment, but then there's so many people that have bought into the Disney syndrome. And so they're still seeking it.
Our fellow fantasy addicts out there.
That's right.
Life is not always, Steamboat Willie or whatever, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
The last thing in your birth chart that I really want to jump into is you've got Mars in the planet Leo, or Mars in the sign of Leo. So when I met you, my first question to you was, are you a Leo? Do you remember that? So, because I noticed like you're creative, you're strong. Mars is our planet of impulse, and Leo is about, this is who I am. It's to have a strong kind of personality and a strong drive sexually.
Okay.
So with Mars and Leo, there's also a huge drive to create, because Leo is the sign of the ego. So what's going to kind of help you express yourself the most is push yourself forward, have your thoughts heard, your opinions, create. I guess this would resonate just based on knowing you and being somebody who's in that kind of sexual and creative energy.
Yes. This definitely resonates, and it actually inspires me
Okay,
to
good.
know that I'm doing the right thing. But yeah, I've always been sexual, always had a high sex drive. I went to Paris for my 40th birthday for 10 days by myself.
Ooh.
I recommend everybody doing that.
By yourself?
Yes.
Oh, that's that Sagittarius moon in you, though, not being afraid to travel.
Went by myself.
Oh my God. Well, I've never traveled internationally by myself.
I have. I went to I spent a summer in Florence, just taking some printmaking classes and
No
exploring
way.
Italy.
Can you talk a little bit about how travel is good for the soul or just to develop as a person? Like, what does it do?
Well, what does it do? It certainly takes you out of your environment, your day to day. I have traveled a lot in my life, so I'm kind of to the point where I don't know that I need that much anymore. I mean, there are certain places I want to see, but I think it's good for us. I think it's good because it takes us out of our world and puts us into different worlds. But at the same time, it's difficult because anything different to us is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
So it's going to be challenging. It's not going to go the way our fantasy thinks it will be.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that we're making memories and stories that we can tell of it.
Yeah. Well, and with that Saturn or that moon in Sagittarius placement, Sagittarius is the sign of faith. Like it kind of just thinks everything's going to work out in the end, even if things go left. So when people travel, one of the strongest impulses that they can have is to just don't be, stupid and do dumb things. But if you lose your way in the city that you're moving through, it's best to just kind of say like, I'm going to find my way. Because Sagittarius placements have that faith developed.
Well, and that happened to me. I mean, in Paris, when I was there by myself, I went with my sister too for her 50th birthday. It was so great. But when I was there by myself, I walked everywhere. I mean, I ate and drank so much, and I still lost 3 pounds because I walked so much.
Oh my God.
But I wasn't afraid to get lost. And I made myself like learn where the buses were so I could hop on. But I was younger then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But same thing in Italy. Yeah, I went to Rome for the day. I went to Venice for a couple of days. And yeah, if I just got lost, I know I would find my way. I just pick up a local map and do the best I could.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all going to be okay.
Well, in my astrology, my destiny sign is Sagittarius. So I'm kind of following your lead. And I will say, we know that's the sign of being fully integrated. You've really helped me in a lot of ways integrate a lot of my own shadows, a lot of my own, maybe inconsistencies in life. But also, I need to develop that muscle of being able to go places. I have a horrible sense of direction. Really, if there was not GPS, I don't know how I'd get anywhere. But also to navigate a foreign land or a different place and not be scared.
Well, there's still GPS in foreign lands now. But
I
went
know.
when there wasn't.
Well, good Lord. I don't know how you did it.
You just go landmarks and get a map and follow the landmarks.
Yeah. But I, as you know, I'm training to be an ayahuasca shaman. So that's going to be flying to another part of the world to go to Peru at some point, learn the customs and culture of another place. And
that'll be exciting.
one day soon, hopefully. So, but this is just about everything, just kind of at a first glance of
Does
looking.
that line up my life right there?
I think
Am I
so.
going to be rich? Do I win the lottery?
Well, you've got the planet Mercury in the second house, so you're
Okay.
good with money.
Okay.
You have a good handle on it. You're not a fast spender necessarily.
Okay.
So it's somebody you like the finer things in life, but you know how to budget.
Okay.
So, and then Venus in the 12th house, you might like have money in the background hiding somewhere. Like you're not spending it all, you're putting it away. So this can be a kind of a good aspect to have.
Okay.
But unless you're spending it all in fantasy.
I'm spending it all fancy. Okay, thanks for that reading. Of what I'm supposed to be.
Oh my God. But I just want to say, I love you so much. Thank you for coming on my first episode.
I love you so much, and
know.
thank you again. I'm so honored to be your first guest.
Of course.
I'm so
and
proud of you.
Thank you. And as I'm doing this, I'm not sure how the podcast will evolve. I don't know if I'll keep doing the birth charts or however, but it's kind of a fun way to break the ice.
Yeah.
And the next time we have you on, I think we can dive into some deeper conversations too.
Okay.
So I love you so much.
I love you.
And let's do this soon.
Okay.
All right. Oh, and let people know how they can find you.
StephanieHunterJones.com.
All right. And also the erotic doctor
With a K.
with a
on
K
TikTok.
on TikTok.
Yeah.
And your Instagram?
Well, all they have to do is go to my website and my link trees.
Perfect. It's all up there. And we'll have it in the show notes.
Okay, good.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.